You know what I love more than actual, like, most standard decks in the format right now? Actually, competitive decks that are, like, built with the mechanics from the set in standard, from the set that's just new out. That's a long way of me saying I really like Surveil and Dimir for Guilds of Ravnica, so let's talk about a standard deck tech for that. What's up, guys? My name is Terran. This is MTGO Traders. Let's get into the deck tech. So if you are, familiar to the channel, you might notice a little bit of a different kind of situation today. Got a little bit of a different angle, kind of shaking it up, guys. Wanted to kind of bring you more to the actual area I'm working in versus just, me having the webcam right above the monitor, so I'm just reading off of that. But let's just kind of talk like this. I like this. It's very nice. So today we're talking about Dimir Surveil in Guilds of Ravnica Standard. A very, I would say tier 2 deck in the format right now in standard that has a lot of longevity and reachability, if that's a word you can use on this deck list. A very good deck list to kind of do a lot of good stuff against aggro deck lists and as well as the control deck list, because of course we have blue in the deck list and can go against those nice control mirror matches. We've got 20 creatures in total in this deck list, so let's jump right into it, starting with our Thoughtbound Phantasm, a 1-mana 2/2 with Defender, and anytime we Surveil, we put a +1/+1 counter on it, and if we have 3 or more counters on it, it actually becomes a regular creature, but it's also a 5/5. And keep in mind, those Surveil triggers continually happen even after you hit that 3 counter threshold, so this can be a 6/6, a 7/7, an 8/8. It's a massive creature, a great turn 1 play for us, and just a threat that if the opponent does not deal with it eventually, they're going to have to deal with it to their life total. Along with the Phantasm here, we have another Surveil enabler. This is Dimir Spybug, a 2-mana 1/1 flying with Menace. Menace is very important here because I feel like a lot of people forget what Menace does. Keep in mind, Menace is, it can't be blocked by more than 2 creatures, so it has to be blocked by 2 creatures whenever it attacks in. So if they only have 1 creature, this is basically an unblockable creature, which is amazing, but it's also a 1/1, so it can be kind of plucked out of the sky really easily. But whenever you Surveil, you put a +1/+1 counter on the Spybug, and because we have a lot of Surveil enablers in the deck list, the Spybug will be able to get a ton of damage on turn 3, 4, 5, and so on. Again, just like the Phantasm, if they don't deal with the Spybug or the Phantasm, then their life total is going to suffer for it. And speaking of Surveil enablers, we've got Nightveil Sprite here. Kind of a wiry card here, a 2-mana 1/2 flyer. That alone is pretty decent, but whenever you attack, you Surveil for 1. This is fantastic because it means that if you have a hand that has not as much mana as you would like, or not as many creatures as you would like, do not worry, that Surveil for 1 will help you kind of dig through your deck list for 1 card, as well as enable the Spybug and the Phantasm. This is usually the card that they kind of target first when they see the Phantasm or the Spybug, because the Sprite is just a fantastic card on turn 2, being able to turn on all of your other Surveil triggers and kind of getting the kind of momentum going in your deck list. Keep in mind, Phantasm is just a 2/2 defender, so they can kind of deal with that for the most part, unless they're a mono white list that they can sometimes deal with it or have trouble with it because of the the ground runners on the mono white list or the Boros aggro list. But for the most part, they want to target the Sprite first because it does enable that sweet Surveil trigger. Moving on to an interesting card here that I didn't see in a lot of the Surveil lists, and I feel like it's a great inclusion here. Darkblade Adept, a 3-mana 2/3. First of all, it doesn't die to a Justice Strike, which is very prevalent right now thanks to the Boros aggro lists and just the Boros lists in general, but it's a 3-mana 2/3, and whenever you Surveil, it gets Death Touch, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card as well, so very good overall. It's just a decent 2/3 as well, so it's going to get in some damage overall as well, and again, because it's a 2/3, it's going to be able to block a lot of stuff and survive a lot of removal as well, getting around a Moment of Craving, getting around any kind of Golden Demise, anything like that, Dead Weight, that kind of stuff. It's going to be able to get around a lot of that and survive. But moving on to another Dimir Surveil trigger card, we have the Whisper Agent here, a 3-mana 2 hybrid mana, can be blue or black. It's a 3/2 with Flash, and when it enters a battlefield, we Surveil for 1. So this is great on defense as well as attacking if you want to kind of trade and do some actual pumping for our battle state. If we have the Phantasm or the Spybug on the battlefield, the Agent here is fantastic because it gives us the ability to either block something really effectively with a 3/2, or make our Phantasm and Spybug stronger so it can actually trade with something more effectively, or if it is forcing a trade, or if they're forcing a trade, we can actually make it to where they just lose their creature outright. So if we have a 5/5 Phantasm attacking in, they have a 5/5 creature, they think, no problem, that's gonna be a nice trade. Nuh-uh, not with the Agent in our hand. We're gonna cast that, make our Phantasm a 6/6, Surveil for 1, maybe get a card out of that if we want to for the next turn, and make sure our creature destroys their creature. And the last 2 copies of creatures in this deck list, you probably could bring this up to 4, but wanted to keep this this deck list a little cheap here. We have a 2 of Doom Whisperer, a 5 mana, 6/6 flying trample creature, and you can pay 2 life and Surveil for 2. This card is amazing. Once this hits on the battlefield on turn 5, it's basically the end game. If they don't deal with this card with Phantasm or Spybug on the battlefield, they just immediately lose, because we're going to dump all of our life into the Surveil mechanic here and make sure the Phantasm and the Spybug become huge monsters and close out that match. Again, I can't stress enough just how powerful Doom Whisperer is in the meta right now. It's a card that's kind of fluctuated a little bit with price, so it's going to be up and down for basically every single time the Golgari mid-range is going up and down. But Doom Whisperer is still one of the best Surveil cards in Dimir in Guild of Ravnica. So let's move on to our spells here, since that was all the creatures we have. Starting with an interesting card here, this is Dazzling Lights. This is a card that I almost didn't put in the deck list because I thought it wasn't as impactful, but it's really, really good against the aggro lists. It's a 1 mana instant. Target creature gets -3, -0 into end of turn, and you Surveil for 2. Now, it's target creature, meaning you can target your own creature, so if your opponent has a Justice Strike in their hand, they're trying to kill our Phantasm or Spybug, we, Dazzling Lights our creature, and actually survives the turn, which is incredibly important, especially on tempo, since we're trying to go with Justice Strike and remove our creature. So, Dazzling Lights a very good card, and of course, a Surveil trigger as well for our Spybug and Phantasm, so good for that. Next, of course, we've got just basic good removal. This is Cast Down here, a 2 mana instant, destroy target non-legendary creature. Very simple, very straightforward, but very effective. Now, it's not good against Lyra Dawnbringer or any kind of legendary creature out there, so you will want to board this out in game 2 if you're going against something like that, but it's still very good against aggro, the more mid-rangey matchups. Also does kill a Doom Whisperer for just 2 mana as well, so very good on that end too. And against the more like Dimir control strategies, the Hostage Taker card, we want to make sure that is dealt with as quickly as possible, and Cast Down can definitely do that. Moving on to more control mid-rangey cards, we have Thought Erasure, a 2 mana sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand, and you pick a non-land card from it, and they discard that card, then you Surveil for 1. This is very good against a tempo deck, a Boros aggro deck. More often than not, you're going to want to choose the Vanalish Marshal. The goal here for Thought Erasure in game 1 is to get rid of their big removal spell, like their Settle the Wreckage, their Cleansing Novas, before they have the chance to actually wipe our board state. Or we have the ability to kind of get rid of their big bomb, like a Vanalish Marshal, or the Loxodon that is kind of in Boros right now, or, we can also get rid of Aurelia. But if we do see Aurelia or Lyra Dawnbringer or a legendary creature in the deck list in game 1, we also have 2 of Price of Fame here, a 4 mana sorcery, or 4 mana instant rather. Destroy target creature. This spell costs 2 colorless less to cast if you're targeting a legendary creature, so it's a 4 mana removal spell, which is not great in most circumstances, but against a Lyra Dawnbringer and Aurelia or any other legendary creature in the format, it's going to deal with it really nicely for just 2 mana, and that's perfect for us. This is also a very good commander card overall, so if you have this card, make sure to use it. And the last regular spell in the deck list is Discovery and Dispersal. We're not really going to worry about Dispersal that much since I've never really used that part of the card at all. Discovery is amazing for us. It is a 2 mana sorcery. Surveil for 2, then draw a card, giving us the ability to kind of siphon through our deck list, get a land if we need it, get a creature if we need it, get a Surveil trigger again, as well as getting this being a Surveil trigger again for our Phantasm and Spybug and our agents. But just a very good card overall. Dispersal, not as useful, but still okay if your opponent has just a large bomb on the battlefield. It is a 5 mana sorcery. Target opponent bounces a non-land permanent on their battlefield to their hand, and then they have to discard a card. So if they don't have any cards in hand, then they may be able to, or we may be able to, get rid of the 1 card that they do bounce. So very interesting kind of dynamic here. I don't really like the ability here where we have to let the opponent choose. Not a big fan of that, but it does say each opponent, so this is probably more of a commander card than a standard card. However, Discovery, still very, very good for us, and it's a complete 4 of in this deck list. Moving on to our enchantments here, we have a 2 of Dead Weight. This is great against the Adanto Vanguards in the Boros aggro list, as well as just any kind of 2 mana or 2 power or 1 power creature coming in the battlefield early on in the game. Healer's Hawk kind of comes to mind, as well as the Goblin Rabble-Masters type card that's in the format right now as well. Just a lot of good 2/2s in the format right now, and Deadweight's going to deal with that for just 1 mana and get rid of them. And lastly, for our enchantments, we have Disinformation Campaign, just a 2 of here. The reason is because Disinformation Campaign is a card that, if it does get cast and does hit the battlefield, it's probably going to do that several times in the match, and you don't really want to get into too many of these. It's a 3 mana enchantment. When it enters a battlefield, we draw a card and our opponent discards a card, and whenever we Surveil, Disinformation Campaign comes back into our hand, and we can actually recast it, which is very, very nice. That's the reason there's only 2 of them in here. That's the reason we don't have 4, because if we did have 4, then we would be constantly casting this Disinformation Campaign, and they're not really that useful after the mid-game point into the late game. So if your opponent is mostly just, top decking, then you really don't want to use Disinformation Campaign that much. That might be a card you want to board out if you're against an aggro deck list, since they will will, you know, blow through their hand really quickly. But it's a very good card against the control decks and against the more mid-rangey style decks. Very good card for that. Love it. But that is it for all of the cards besides lands. Let's go over lands really quickly. We have a 4 Watery Grave. This is, of course, the shock land from Guilds of Ravnica. A absolute inclusion here. I tried to go with Dimir Guildgate to kind of lessen the price in this deck list, but just could not do it. Needed to have this untapped land, even though it does do 2 points of damage to you. You got to be aggressive on turn 1 and 2. Very good card for us. Next up, we've got Drowned Catacombs here, a buddy land for us, complete 4 of. And then we have 7 Swamp and 9 Island. And that's going to complete the game 1 matchup here for us. So game 1, we want to get out a Phantasm on turn 1, get out a Sprite or a Spybug on turn 2, try and get Surveil triggers going off by turn 3, get some counters on stuff, do some damage, try and remove stuff with Cast Down or Price of Fame or Dead Weight, and kind of, you know, put our opponent on the back foot by using Thought Erasure and Disinformation Campaign. And if we really want to bring it home, we want to play Doom Whisper and do a ton of damage that way. But that's going to do it for game 1. Let's get into our sideboard here, starting with, of course, 2 more Cast Down. That's right, we want to put this a complete 4 of in the deck list. And of course, this is against the more Boros aggro lists, the more mono white aggro lists, all of the aggro lists in standard right now. The mono red aggro list. Goblin Chainwhirler is a card that's really a pain in our side sometimes, and having another Cast Down or 2 more Cast Downs from the sideboard into the main board is very, very good for us as well. Next up, we have 2 Disdainful Stroke here. This is more against the Jeskai and the more Grixis control matchups, against the Nicobolus kind of coming out, or a Teferi. We definitely don't want those hitting the battlefield, because if they do hit the battlefield, then we're going to take some real damage really quickly, or lose a lot of value, and mostly likely lose the match that way. But a very good card for that overall as well. Then Moment of Craving is here for the mono red and the Boros aggro matchups. Again, just a very good card to deal with an Adanto Vanguard. The -2/-2 aspect, as well as gaining life, really does help at instant speed to kind of keep them on the back foot while we continue to build our board state and get advantage. We'll also have 2 Negate here for the more Grixis and Jeskai and Dimir control matchups, more mid-ranging matchups as well. They're using a Divine Visitation deck or a random like Storm deck. This is also a card we want to deal with. And again, against the more control matchups, we've got 2 more Thought Erasure. This is also very good against the Arc-like Phoenix deck, because on turn 2, we want to make sure to either get rid of an Arc-like Phoenix or get rid of an enabler like a Charter Course or an Opt or something like that in game 1 to make sure that they're not casting as many spells as they could be to get those Phoenixes onto the battlefield from their graveyard. Next up, we have 3 Golden Demise. This is again here for the Boros aggro and mono red aggro matchups. Now, we could bring in Ritual of Soot if you want to. That's kind of an option here for me. But I did like Golden Demise because, of course, it's 1 mana less, and it does mostly the same job, but also our creatures stay alive because, again, it's not destroying everything with converted mana cost 3 or less. It's just doing -2 across the board, which is very good, meaning we might just lose the Sprite, but everything else in the deck list, besides maybe the Sprite and the Agent itself, we're going to be keeping if we have counters on top of our creatures. So very good card for that overall. And the last 2 cards, if our opponent is heavy on removal and spot removal, we want to use Nightveil Predator. Just a fantastic card overall. A great attacker, a Flying Death Touch, and Hexproof creature. It's a 3/3, so it can't survive against a Deafening Clarion, which is one of the cards that's really prevalent right now in the Boros aggro list or the Jeskai control list, so you want to be really aware of that. But besides that, the Nightveil Predator is a fantastic attacker for you, and a great card to trade with another Doom Whisperer or another big bomb that they have in the battlefield. Now, it can't trade against a Lyra Dawnbringer because of First Strike, but that's fine. We have Price of Fame for that. And that's going to wrap it up for the deck guys. The full 75, a fantastic deck list for Dimir Surveil for Guilds of Ravnica Standard. If you want to build this on MTGO, it's coming to about 35 tickets on MTGO Traders. And if you want to build this in paper, it's coming to about 110 bucks. Of course, the pricey points will be your, Doom Whisperer and Watery Grave. Drowned Catacombs is a little bit there as well on paper and in online, but not as expensive as the Doom Whisperer and Watery Grave. But that's going to do it for the deck guys. Let's get into some matches and see how this deck performs with some matches. All right, guys, let's get into match 1 here with Dimir Surveil, or Dimir Phantasm, however you want to say it. Let's have some fun, see if we can get some good matches going. This is going to be a key for me because of the Dead Weight and the Dazzling Lights in our hand. Ooh, and we top deck a land, which is perfect. So we're going to go with a Watery Grave tapped first. Past land. Ajani's welcome here with a Clifftop Retreat. So this could be a Boros aggro list. We're going with a Sprite first. Just trying to put something in the way of any creature. There's a Steward there. Our Stalwart. We're going to go with a Dead Weight on top of that with a Dimir Spybug. And make sure our Spybug, when we attack in, is now a 2/2. Drowned Catacombs, probably on top. I think that's fine. Thanks to Price of Fame and Disinformation Campaign. With 4 cards in the opponent's hand here, 3 land on the battlefield for them. Gonna go Sworn Companion. They're gonna gain 2 life. So this is probably just a Ajani Pridemate deck. So let's go Disinformation Campaign here. Draw a card with the agent. Have them discard a card. They're going to discard a Rock Charger. We're going to Surveil again. And, yeah. Bounce Campaign. Get in for 4. Spybug does some work. Going for Dawn of Hope here. Dawn of Hope is an amazing card against our deck list here. So they might actually come out on top with Dawn of Hope. It really depends on where the match goes here. We could go the agent or campaign. We're going to go agent here and get in for Surveil again. Throwing away that agent from the top of the deck list and got in for 5 there. Down to 15 for the opponent here. 3 cards left in their hand. Let's see where they're going to go with this. They're just going to scoop it up. Nice. Yeah, if they don't have an answer to that Spybug, it's usually going to be game over. So we're going to take out the Thought Erasure and bring in some Golden Demise, since we know they're on a more heavy like aggro basis, so it's going to be a little bit better of a matchup for us if we have Golden Demise in the deck list for some crowd control. Sprite, Spybug, cast down, perfect hand for us. Let's go Watery Grave and pass. Memorial to Glory again for the opponent. Ajani's Welcome. Let's go for a Sprite first and go for a Spybug maybe next turn, or a Sprite. Gonna go with a landing, get a 1/1. Let's go Drowned Catacombs, get out another Spybug, or get out a Spybug, and then Surveil. Let's throw that land away since we have plenty of land in our hand. Surveil is a great way for us to just get lands out of our hand. Ajani's Primate coming in the battlefield. We have Cast Down in our hand, which is very good against this particular matchup. So we're going to hold a Cast Down in our hand, play a Sprite, and get in for 4 points in the air and throw away another land off the top. We do not want to get into too many lands like that. We want to make sure that we have a ton of value going forward with every single draw being creatures or spells. Let's go with a Cast Down here. And it's dead. Going to go with a land into a Discovery here. Throw that land away. We could keep this. Let's keep that and draw into it. Discovery there. And get in for 2 Surveil Mechanics. Response from the opponent here. So we could go with a Whisper Agent prior to combat, but it's still going to not, keep the Spybug alive. So that's very sad. Let's throw away 2 lands and get in for 2. Wasn't able to get around that response there. 5 cards in hand for the opponent. Let's see what they do here. Going to go with the Queen's Commission here. Lots of life gain from the opponent, so it's going to be very difficult for us to continue to kind of deal lots of damage. Phantasm on top, though, which is quite good. Let's play the Phantasm out here and go for a Discovery. Throw away that. Draw into a Dead Weight. Get rid of a lifelink creature. And then Surveil for 2 here. This actually creates the Phantasm being an automatic 5/5 for us the turn it's played. And we're keeping the Cast Down on top as well for any kind of threat that may come our way. So Phantasm attacking out next turn is very good for us. Ixalan's Binding. Ooh, grabbing the Phantasm there. Okay, that's fair. Let's get in for lots of damage. Keep the Doom Whisperer on top since we surveilled that. Stalwart coming in for the opponent. And let's go instep, destroy that with a Cast Down, and go Doom Whisperer, and get in for 5 once again. Golden Demise, we'll keep that on top for now, just in case they have any more kind of token productions cards next turn. They're down to 8 here, but if they don't have anything by next turn, that's going to do it. Nice. That's going to do it. Let's get into match 2 here and see what we can do. Really love the top end for Doom Whisperer. I think that's a very powerful card. 4 land for us in the keep here, so we're going to hold on to that. We have Discovery for getting into creatures. Tap land for the opponent. Let's go Discovery here. Disinformation Campaign and Dazzling Lights. Let's throw away Dazzling Lights and draw Disinformation Campaign. Keep in mind the campaign is a draw card as well. 2 mana for the opponent, 7 cards in hand, going with a Dissenter. Let's go with a campaign here. Draw a card and make them discard a card. Discarded a Cast Down. Okay. So they might think that we are on a control-heavy deck. Cleric for the opponent here. Getting in for 1. This looks to be maybe a Divine Visitation deck, something like that. Let's go with a Sprite and cast down actually dead weight the Cleric instead of cast down the Cleric. Holding on to the Discovery for a Phantasm or a Spybug so we can get that off at the same time. Martyr of Dusk from the opponent with a Duress. Ooh! Are you grabbing Cast Down or Discovery? You grab Discovery there. That's probably a fair move, since all of their creatures become 2/2s or 1/1s after combat. No attack, though. It's interesting. We have another Disinformation Campaign. Let's go for that. Draw a card. Got a Drowned Catacombs out of that. They discard a Ritual of Soot, which is quite good for us. We're going to keep Price of Fame on top. We do Surveil, and the campaigns jump back into our hands, which is nice. Let's see. 2 cards in hand. Do they have another Ritual of Soot here? They're getting in for 3 here. Main phase 2, Hunted Witness. No problem. Let's go with they drown Catacombs into a Disinformation campaign. They discard a Divine Visitation. We're going to play Dimir Spybug, Surveil for 1, keep that cast down on top, and bounce the campaign. Lots of interactions going on our side of the field. Love the Surveil list because it gives us a ton of ways to continually do damage. Call to the Feast for the opponent, getting 3 lifelinkers. We have 3 removal spells here, so we could start using them or just go campaign again. Let's go for an attack here and make our Spybug a 3/3 so it survives most of the combat here. And, we could hold up the 2 cast downs or Price of Fame. We're going to do that. Everything is an instant speed removal, so they're attacking with everything here. We're going to go with a block on the 2/1 and then cast down a lifelinker, cast down another lifelinker. This does create a lifelinker with a block there. We could go with a dispersal, but we're going to go discovery here. Draw into an agent or sprite. Let's draw into an agent, giving us another creature. We're going to surveil. Doom Whisperer on top is perfect here. Let's get in for 6. Doom Whisperer on top. Down to 15. And since they're in top deck mode, yeah, that should do it. Nice. Alright, nothing we really want to bring in besides Golden Demise. Let's take out Dazzling Lights. We could take out, yeah, we just want Dispersal and do it. We could have taken out the Thought Erasure as well, but since we saw Divine Visitation, we want to keep that in for this matchup. So let's see what we can do in Game 2. I really like their deck list. I really wish we could see more of it. Divine Visitation is such an interesting mechanic as far as a standard deck list. I really think that there's something about that deck list that I feel like might exist once Orzhov is coming in, like the new guild, or Orzhov guild from the next set in standard coming out. Let's see here. We have 2 lands. No black man. Let's go with a mulligan. That's okay. Phantasm on top, no problem. Let's draw into a Phantasm, play that, and pass. I'm going to go with a Martyr here. Let's go drown Catacombs into a Sprite. Drawing into a Sprite's pretty perfect there. Keep in mind the Phantasm is a 2/2, so we still will take the 2 here, but it will be a 3/3 next turn. Ooh, and another one there. Very good. Let's keep the Catacombs on top. That seems fine. Making 2 3/3s here. Ritual of Soot is going to suck if they have that. And they do! Oh, no! Oh. Let's go with the Drowned Catacombs and go with a Deadweight and Disinformation campaign. Discarding a land for the opponent there. They do get in for 1 here. 2 cards in hand. We have another Disinformation campaign or a Whisper Agent. We can't do both, so let's hold up the Whisper Agent here on a flash block. No problem. Cast down from the opponent. We do get to Surveil and get a Phantasm, so that's fine. Okay. Play the Phantasm out and go for a Disinformation campaign, drawing a card. Nightvale Sprite is very good, so let's hope... Oh, they scoop it! Oh, that's funny. They just didn't get anything there. That's fine. Let's go into match 3 here and see what we can do. Swamp there for the opponent. Or swamp for us, then opt for the opponent. Is this a... is it list? Might be a wizard's list. It's hard to tell sometimes. It could be a pirate list as well. Let's go with a dead weight here. Are we going to get spell pierced? We do. That sucks. This is going to be a hard matchup for us then. 4 cards in their hand. This could also be a mono blue tempo list. Let's go Disinformation campaign. Will we see a control card for this? Wizard's Retort. Okay, so this is probably mono blue tempo. Could be mono blue wizards, but I feel like it's probably mono blue tempo. Yep, we saw Charter Course, so it's definitely mono blue tempo. Let's go with a Nightvale Sprite and pass turn. This is a good blocker against the Storm Tamer, but they also play Merfolk Trickster, so this is definitely mono blue tempo. Getting in for 3, down to 15 for us, and playing a Tempest Gen. They've definitely out-tempoed us here. Really would have liked to get into a cast down, but let's go for a Surveil on Discovery here. Let's throw away the land and draw into a Watery Grave and play another Sprite. And pass turn. Merfolk Trickster for the opponent on instep. 1 card in hand there, and they're attacking out with everything. So let's take that. Down to 2. Price of Fame, a little too late. We could go Price of Fame here if they have a control card. They do for Siren Storm Tamer. So I'm going to scoop it up and go into game 2. Bring in Golden Demise. Take out Discovery and Thought Erasure. Those are just too slow for the matchup. Let's bring in some more cast downs. And that's probably should do it. Take out Darkblade Agent, bring in Nightvale Predator, and hit OK. Play first? Yes. So we have 4 land here. Let's go with the tap land pass. Land for the opponent. Ooh, Mistcloak Herald. Let's go Deadweight onto that. and pass turn here. 6 cards in hand. Storm Tamer. Let's go with another land and go Disinformation Campaign. We kept Disinformation over the Thought Erasure because it does give us card advantage as well. So we like that. 5 cards in hand for the opponent. Gonna go with a Curious Obsession. Get in for 2. Draw a card. Let's go with a land here. Let's go for Dimir Spybug and go for a Discovery. Throw those away. Draw into a Price of Fame. Bounce the campaign. Okay. 6 cards in hand for the opponent here. Would like it if they tapped out so we can go Price of Fame onto that Storm Tamer. Let's go with the block here. Dive down for the opponent. Ooh, interesting. Bringing in the Mistcloak Herald here. They do tapped out, so we're going to go with a Price of Fame onto the Storm Tamer. Actually, let's go with a Doom Whisperer. I think Doom Whisperer feels a little bit better here because of the 6/6 being able to block the 2/2. Just got to make sure they don't have a Trickster. Now, they still have the ability to keep the Curious Obsession thanks to attacking this turn. So let's go with a Merfolk Trickster tapping down a creature here. Makes sense. Let's keep Golden Demise and yeah, that seems good. Let's Golden Demise here and see if they have anything. They don't. And let's go Disinformation Campaign, where they have to discard a card as well. Discarding a Chart of Course, 2 cards in hand. Opt for the opponent here, 2 cards in hand here. Getting into another land, into a Marauder. Cast down the Marauder, and let's just start cranking. Let's go for 6, down to 14. Drawing into a Tempest Gen here. We have Price of Fame for that, so we are good to go. Let's flash in a Whisper Agent, making our Phantasm a 3/3, and bouncing the Disinformation Campaign. Let's see. Let's go with a Spybug here, and Price of Fame on the Gen, and that should do it there. Yeah, that's going to do it. Let's get into Game 3 here. Mono Blue Tempo is really difficult to get around for our deck list. We do have a lot of stuff to deal with it, of course. Lots of good removal. We're bringing in a Nightbolt Predator there over another Discovery. Ooh, a 1-mana hand. Ooh, another 1-mana hand. Let's go with the Mulligan. That's 2 mana. Sure, we'll keep that. Mistcloak Herald for the opponent. It's going to go Watery Grave, tap. Those 2 opening hands were terrible for us. Another Mistcloak Herald. Let's go Dimir Spybug here. And they're going to go Opt. 5 cards in hand, drawing into their 4th land, or 3rd land. 4 cards in hand, getting in for 2. Down to 17. Dazzling Lights is not great. We sort of need that like right now. We sort of lined that up also backwards. We should have lined up the land drop first and then the Golden Demise. Let's see if that matters though. We have a 2/2 here, so let's just crack back at them since we can't block the 2/2s. They're going to trade there. Very nice. 3 cards in hand for the opponent. Getting in for 2 once again. Mistcloak Heralds are such a pain in our side. Let's go Watery Grave here, and let's hold up a Whisper Agent. We're trying to make sure that they tap out so that Golden Demise is really worth it. 3 cards in hand. Let's go Whisper Agent here. Let's see if they have a Wizard Retort. They do. Alright, we're down to 7. They're playing a Tempest Gen. Let's go Golden Demise here. They do tap out, so we do just have to deal with the Tempest Gen now. We got to draw a land, though, for the Price of Fame. Do we draw it? Ooh, another Tempest Gen. Ooh, we do draw it, but that's not going to do enough. And that's going to be it. Such a sad loss. 2 Tempest Gens back-to-back is so painful for us. But that's fine. That's how it goes. 3 opening land for us. I like that a lot. Let's go Watery Grave, or Drowned Catacombs and pass. Blue mana from the opponent and pass. Let's go with a black mana and go to Discovery here. Grab a Whisper Agent and throw away a land. Let's see, 8 cards, drawing into that 2 land drop. Gonna go with a Phantasm. Ooh, Essence Scatter, interesting. I wonder what the deck list they're playing is. Let's go for a Discovery here and pass turn. 3 land drop here. 6 cards in hand. Induced Amnesia. We draw a completely new set of cards. What is this deck? Is this a mill deck? Darkblade Agent here for the opponent. Or for us. Not for the opponent. Yeah, Darkblade Agent here. 4 mana on the battlefield. 5 cards in hand. We'd like to continually get into land here for the Doom Whisperer play. 2 Doom Whisperer in our hand here. I'm assuming they're going to have multiple Induced Amnesia. I think this is a mill deck, so let's try and play out as many things as we can. Expel from Ravnica for the agent there. Let's go for an island here. Play that out. Let's see how they're going to do it. Let's see. 4 cards in hand again. 5 mana on the battlefield. Such an interesting way to use Induced Amnesia here for us to mill them. Release to the Wind on Induced Amnesia here. So it does exile the cards, and then they just do it again. Yep. And then we're going to draw 5 new cards. So this is definitely a mill deck. We're just not seeing any mill cards just yet. Spybug being in our hand is not bad. So let's go for a Spybug here. And then play Whisper Agent. And get that Surveil trigger. Pumping everything up here. Can't attack just yet. Thanks to Phantasm not being a 5/5. Tap land for the opponent, 3 cards in hand. They're going to go for an Opt here. Lots of good stuff for the opponent here. Let's see, 4 cards, 4 mana. Sleep for the opponent, wow. Let's go for an island here. And I guess go Dazzling Lights, just to make sure we can go for some nice stuff. Let's go with a Disinformation Campaign and a Dimir Spybug on top. I think that's fine. We have a huge threat of a board state this turn, or this game, so if we can get an attack in, they're going for an Opt here. 2 cards in hand. Drowned Secret, so this is definitely a mill deck, straight up. That's so exciting. I kind of want it to win now. Induced Amnesia is such an interesting card to add into that deck list. Dimir Spybug off the top here for us, and let's attack in for lots of damage. Another Expel from Ravnica. Now, this does get rid of the 5/5, but they still take 6. Going down to 14. And we're just going to replay the Phantasm. Hold up Watery Grave. Just in case they go with another Induced Amnesia, because we don't like Watery Grave right now. So, let's just get in for some more damage here. Getting in for 7 here. Trying to see if they have like a River's Rebuke or something like that. If they don't, then it's going to be game. And we'll go into game 2 here. They're going to go Memorial to Genius. Draw 2 cards. Seems pretty good. 3 cards in hand for the opponent here. 4 cards in hand for the opponent. Dropping a land. 3 cards in hand. Is that going to do it? Psychic Corrosion. Okay. Keep in mind we still have the kill here. They need to bounce something. Chemist's Insight. Okay, so they don't have it. They're just kind of playing out to see how much they can mill us. That's fair. Down to 19 for us. And that's going to do it on game 1. Let's go to Sideboard here. Let's bring in Negate, bring in Thought Erasure, bring in Nightveil Predator, and take out Price of Fame, Deadweight Cast Down, and just hit Submit. Because this is a more mill-heavy deck and not really a creature deck at all, we're taking out all of our creatures and kind of just making sure we can deal with the cards in their hand, as well as deal with the stuff on the battlefield that can't be really messed with, like hexproof creatures. So we'll see how this goes. Opening hand is 4 land, agent, and 2 discoveries. I like this. Land drop for the opponent here. Let's go with a Drowned Catacomb, pass. Off from the opponent. 5 cards in hand. Back to their hand. 6 cards, and a pass. They didn't hit their second land drop. Ooh. Let's go Discovery, really capitalize on this, and throw away Disinformation Campaign, but have Nightveil Predator into our hand. Let's go with a land drop into a Disinformation Campaign. Keep in mind that I believe they mulligan, so we're going to make sure that we capitalize on that as well. Yep, Chemist's Insight, no problem. They need a land here. They're not going to get it. They're going to get a Drowned Catacomb, or Drowned Secrets, though. Let's go with another Drowned Catacomb for us, and just go Nightveil Predator since they're tapped out. A creature they can't deal with. Very nice. Now, they can sleep it, and they can River's Rebuke it, so those are 2 options for them, if those are in their deck. We did see sleep. I don't think we saw a River's Rebuke. Looks like a land and a pass. Let's go for Nightveil Predator and see if we get a counter coming out for that. We do. Drowned Secret's going to mill us for 2. Down to 43. And we can go Darkblade Agent or a Whisper Agent. Let's go Darkblade Agent. And just get in for 3. Down to 17 you go. Now, Darkblade Agent being here is great for us because we do have Discovery, so we can draw an extra card. Land, or no land again from the opponent. Let's go Discovery here. Nightfall Predator on top into another Discovery. Get in for 5. Draw a card here. Got everything we wanted. Let's go for a Disinformation Campaign and see if they have another counter. Doesn't look like they do. Expel from Ravnica on the Darkblade Agent. Gotcha. Again, this mills us. Okay, we still draw a card with the campaign, though, and they discard an Induced Amnesia. Opt from the opponent here. Drown Secrets. Trigger. Can they keep us back? Induced Amnesia from the opponent. Ooh, so many cards we're losing right now. 7 cards. 7 new cards. Let's go for a Drowned Catacombs into a Dimir Spybug, into a Sprite, into a Thought Erasure. Let's get rid of Mission Briefing and hold Negate on top. I pick a Mission Briefing there because of the ability for them to recast Opt or something like that from their graveyard. Or an Essence Scatter. 1 card in hand for the opponent. They're down to 9. We have lethal. That's going to do it. Let's get into 5 here. Man, it's so much fun to see like people try and make the mill decks work right now in Standard, but they just really don't. And I really want them to as well, but I don't think we'll get as many pieces as we need them in the next set either. So we'll just see what happens as far as mill goes. Maybe a turbo mill deck will kind of come up. Not really sure yet. Nexus of Fate is a card that I feel like will be good in a mill deck. We just haven't seen that deck just yet. This looks to be Boros aggro here. Let's go with a Swamp and pass. 5 cards in hand for the opponent, 2 lands. Gonna go with it for the Adanto Vanguard. Get in for 1 here. Would really love to get into a cheaper removal spell like a Cast Down or a Deadweight for the Adanto Vanguard. Sprite for us. Lots of red mana for the opponent. I'm not sure that this is mono white. This might not be. Nope, this is Instigator as well. So this is definitely more Boros than mono white. Let's go Thought Erasure and see what they have in their hand. Yeah, let's get rid of that Adanto Vanguard and throw away the campaign. Would like to get into a Doom Whisperer or a Cast Down or Deadweight. 1 card in hand. As it goes with the Boros and the mono white decks. Let's block the 1/1 here. Oh, Pride of the Conquerors. Yeah, we're just gonna scoop up there. They of course top decked Pride of the Conquerors. Let's bring in Cast Downs, bring in Golden Demise, take out Dazzling Lights, and take out the Thought Erasures. Should be good there. Could bring in the Nightfall Predator as well because they're going to have Conclave Tribunal. So we could take out maybe Discoveries for that. Or maybe some Darkblade Agents. Either way, we want to bring in as much spot removal as we can for our deck list. Play first? Yes. Opening hand is 2 lands, Sprite, Phantasm, and Cast Down. So pretty good on turn 1, 2, and so on. So that's pretty good. Let's go with Watery Grave. Take 2 and go Phantasm, pass turn. Great card as a blocker on this matchup. Sacred Foundry coming in tap, 6 cards in hand for the opponent. Let's go with the Drowned Catacomb, get out a Sprite, and pass turn. Keep in mind the Phantasm cannot attack until it's a 5/5. Adanto Vanguard from the opponent here. We want to draw into a Deadweight or a 3rd land for that Golden Demise. Moment of Craving also will do it though. Nice. Let's get in for damage here. Get in for 1 Spybug on top. Well, we'll keep that. Even though we need land more than we need creatures, having a lot of 2-drops in our deck is actually pretty good because it means we can still be viable. Legion Warboss here. I'm going to go with the block on that. That Goblin. Let's see. Dimir Spybug. Let's go Cast Down first. Get in for 1 here. Drowned Catacomb on top. Making your Phantasm a 4/4. Now we just got to make sure that if they have a Lava Coil, it doesn't suddenly pop into their hand this turn. We were in Lightning Strike range, now we're in Lava Coil range. If we get to 5, we should be good, unless they have just straight up removal. 2 creatures from the opponent here. Drowned Catacombs for us. Let's go Spybug here. And if we can continue to build up our board state with the Sprites, then we might just Golden Demise. Yeah, Cast Down on the top there. That's pretty good. Got a 5/5 now and a 2/2. So the 5/5 can definitely block the Vanguard there. 3 cards in hand, drawing into their 4th here. They hit another land, so 4 lands in total. Please do not hit Banalish Marshal. That would be nice. We'll see, though. Conclave Tribunal is the card that I'm really afraid of the most, though, or Ixalan's Binding. Ixalan's Binding is a card that's kind of becoming more prevalent as the standard meta kind of evolves. Yeah, there's a Tribunal hitting the Phantasm there. Called it. Let's get him for 3 for the opponent, and actually 5. We're gonna take all that, go to 15. We could go Golden Demise. I think we're gonna go Sprite here. We're gonna try and wait for Golden Demise to be as useful as possible. But we don't want to wait too long because the that Loxodon that goes around can be a very frustrating card to deal with. So let's get in for 4 here, drop them down to 13. And then, let's see. 3 cards in hand, 4 mana. Legion Warboss here, very nice. Getting in for 3. Gonna block the 1/1 here. Actually getting in for 5, we're down to 10 now. Let's see. Let's go for an attack here. Whisper Agent. We'll throw that to the graveyard. Make a 5/5. Throw Discovery to the graveyard as well. I'm trying to get into a 5th land here. Down to 6 for the opponent. And let's go with a Golden Demise. Yeah. Get rid of their board state. We still have a 5/5, so if we can surveil for something, we win. So it might not have been a good idea to throw away that Discovery. Let's see, 3 cards in hand here. Yep, Experimental Frenzy, so they're giving us a turn. If we surveil, yep, nice! Discovery off the top, and that's going to close the match. Let's get in for 6. There you go. Let's get in match 3 here, or game 3. Let's bring in Cast Down, and probably worth it bring out a Discovery and just hit Submit. Really excited to see what we can do in game 3 here. The aggro lists are one of the harder lists for us to deal with, just basing on how fast they are, how explosive those decks are. We have a ton of removal, but it doesn't matter if you're dead. That's kind of how the aggro lists go these days. So make sure we have a ton of removal. We have, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pieces of removal in the deck list. That's a ridiculous amount of removal. But you really need almost every single piece for these aggro lists. Boros aggro and Mono White aggro especially, because they can really go wild with the Johnny's Pridemates and the Legion Warboss. Opening hand is no land. No! Oh, come on, Mulligan. Give me something good. Okay, that's better. Sure. Darkblade Agent, we'll keep that on top. Opponent's on the play. Big Mulligan to 6. Planes into a Legion's Landing. Let's go Watery Grave, say yes, and make a Phantasm. Would like to get a Sprite out next turn if we can. Sacred Foundry for the opponent here. Another Watery Grave. Let's go with this Sprite here and just pass turn. Would love it if the Sprite said whenever it enters the battlefield and attacks, or attacks. You know, that kind of thing. That'd be great. I know why they didn't do that, because it would be broken, but, you know, still pretty good. Warboss coming in for the opponent here. Let's go for a Darkblade Agent here. And let's attack in with the Sprite, making the Phantasm a 3/3. Doom Whisperer on top. Very nice. And we have enough mana for it, too, so turn 5, we'll be able to play it. 3 cards in hand for the opponent, 4 mana. Can they get out maybe a Loxodon, the elephant thing? Or will they just go wide? If they go wide here, we might want to go Golden Demise, lose our Sprite after combat, and then just wipe their board state. That seems really good. Let's see, though. Oh, they're going to go with another Warboss. Oh, this is going to be great for us. And a Tribunal. Okay, so are they removing the Sprite here? They are. That's fair. Getting in for 2 here. Let's block that, not take any damage. And then next turn, play Watery Grave, say no. And then let's just get in for 2 first, before combat. Or, you know, during combat. And then we go Golden Demise. Our entire board state survives. Theirs actually dies. That's really good for us. And they only have 1 card in hand, so they're back on the top deck mode. 2 cards in hand for the opponent. Let's see. Playing out a pass, and then let's go Doom Whisper for us. And let's Surveil twice here so the Phantasm can attack in. Gonna keep both those cards on top here. Let's keep the cast down on top first. Let's get in for 5. If we got in for both, I would be afraid of a Settle the Wreckage, so let's just get in for 5. Land drop from the opponent here. Let's see. Venerated Loxodon. So glad we kept cast down on top. Let's go for that. And that's it! Nice. And that is going to do it for the video, guys. Like it if you like it, subscribe to the channel down below, and make sure to turn the bell on for notifications to know whenever we upload a video on the channel. We try and upload a video every single weekday on this channel, and we're trying to shake it up with content. I'm trying to, make the content look as good as possible with this new camera angle and all that fun stuff. And, we're making a new Aggro Sucks video very soon, so keep a lookout for that. And if you're not into more standard stuff, we have modern content and, of course, commander content on the channel as well. So trying to get as many formats as we possibly can. But as always, guys, let me know what deck I should cover in the comments down below. Share this video around with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome MTG content just like this. And make sure to tap the bell icon to be notified whenever a video is made live. If you want to keep watching content, here are 2 more videos for you. This video and many others are sponsored by MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games. Buy and sell digital singles to build your online collection today with MTGO Traders, and get your paper singles, accessories, and much more from Cape Fear Games. Whatever your Magic needs, both places have you covered.